The US government arrested Anatoly Lekkodimov, a Russian national and a co-founder of Bitslato, a Hong Kong-based crypto exchange, on Tuesday, alleging the company facilitated the flow of illicit funds. Quote, as alleged, Bitslato sold itself to criminals as a no-questions-asked cryptocurrency exchange and reached hundreds of millions of dollars worth of deposits as a result. The defendant is now paying the price for the role that his company played in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. I have never heard of Bitslato, and it is not a well-known exchange, so just the fact that this exchange was participating in money laundering schemes isn't representative of the rest of the system. I would say FTX participating in some money laundering schemes is a much larger deal. They had market cap in the multi-billions, whereas this exchange, not even a billion, which is very small fry, at least relative to the rest of the crypto space. And again, it's something that very few people have heard of. Now, of course, this is a big deal. This shows you the pros and cons of crypto being unregulated. It's great for regular people that just don't like to be watched. It's really easy to send money internationally, but on the flip side, because it's so easy to transact and send money internationally and to whoever you want at any time, of course, it could be used for evil. I would say most things that are very powerful can be used for good and evil, just like the internet, just like cars or a computer or any piece of technology, phone, very good, very evil, and this is another example of that playing out. So what Bitslato was used for was actually mainly regarding a darknet market called Hydra, which the Justice Department had actually shut down last year. But Hydra buyers allegedly purchased a lot of different illegal drugs. They had stolen financial information swapped and also different hacking tools. And then through this buying and selling, there was a transaction of over $700 million between 2018 and 2022. Federal law enforcement actually seized Bitslato servers, which include messages allegedly sent by the 40-year-old founder, Lekkodimov, I know I'm butchering the name, through the company's internal chat system to colleagues that acknowledge Bitslato's users were known to be crooks. So because they have chat logs, he can't just throw up his hands and say, I didn't know, which is what a lot of founders or CEOs say when they get in trouble. He clearly knew, and the reason he was okay with it is because he was profiting tremendously on it, probably taking a cut between every single transaction, just like any other cryptocurrency. They make money when you do the trade or when you do the transfer. They just take a little bit. So no matter what, no matter where it's going or who you're getting it from, the founders of the exchange are always going to be making money, which just makes it that much more dumb why somebody like SBF or all the other exchanges that have went under for improper money management. Guys, you are already making money hand over fist. You're making money regardless of what your users do because you're making money on every single transaction. So the fact that you took people's money to gamble more, to generate more alpha, it's just really irresponsible, and it doesn't make sense because you are already going to be set for life. You're already going to have more money than you'd ever know. And man, how do you start a crypto exchange? These are so profitable. If only somebody would do it right. Now, another big news is that crypto lender Genesis is actually preparing to file bankruptcy. Now, this actually is a big deal because Genesis is a major exchange. This is from an article from Bloomberg. Genesis Global Capital is laying the groundwork for a bankruptcy filing as soon as this week, according to people with knowledge of the situation. The cryptocurrency lending unit of Digital Currency Group has been in confidential negotiations with various creditor groups amid a liquidity crunch. It has warned that it may need to file for bankruptcy if it fails to raise cash, Bloomberg previously reported. So a liquidity crunch means that hypothetically that they do have the money somewhere, but it's tied up in different assets that aren't able to be easily accessed. So let's say you deposited $1 million toward me and I used the $1 million to buy a house. And let's assume that this house is still worth $1 million, but now the people that gave me money want their money back. I still technically have the $1 million, but it's tied up in this very hard asset that I can't easily sell and give you back your cash. I mean, it's really hard to tell exactly what's going on because all of the cryptocurrency exchanges that eventually turned out to be mismanaging their money starts off by saying they're in a liquidity crunch. Don't worry, we have the assets. It's just not liquid. We're not able to pay you out now. And then upon a deeper inspection, it turns out that no, they actually don't have the money. It's not a liquidity crunch at all, but that remains to be seen. So right now they are trying to gather cash somehow. Now they can do this by, borrowing more money or getting more investors or selling off some assets. There are ways around it, but the fact that the news is coming out that they're preparing to file for bankruptcy means that they probably aren't able to accomplish this. And why would they? I mean, think about who would be willing to lend money to another crypto exchange that's facing a so-called liquidity crunch. I would say it's very few. Maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, people were still willing to dump money into these exchanges as investments, but now people are starting to see a lot of them for what they are, and that's just funds managed by children, by very immature and irresponsible degenerate gamblers, essentially. I don't really know exactly what's happening to Genesis. We'll find out as more information emerges. But essentially, pressure emerged after the collapse of the hedge fund Three Arrows Capital, and that's one of the biggest culprits of irresponsible money management, just over-leveraged and gambling on extremely risky cryptocurrencies. And this is all related to FTX as well, where Genesis actually held some of its funds. So when FTX went under, all the funds that they gave FTX also disappeared. This failure of FTX and all these other funds have had a ripple effect. And now, Gemini or Genesis, now the Gemini Trust, which is run by the Winklevoss twins, which you'll know from the movie The Social Network, which are the people that argued with Mark Zuckerberg about who founded Facebook and how much they each deserve. But ultimately, I mean, they became really successful. They founded Genesis, and they're one of the earliest very strong supporters of Bitcoin. So, of course, in the bull run, they did really well, just like everybody else, and now they are not doing so well. They've tried to come to an agreement. They've exchanged multiple proposals with different groups, but they are just not able to gather the required funds. Those are the two big pieces of news today. Yeah, let me know what you think. Where do you think the crypto market is at? Are we beginning a bull run? Are we beginning into a bear run? Just a big disclaimer, nobody can predict the future. Anyone that purports to is just lying to you or being irresponsible. We can just make our best educated guesses. Now, the fact that any amount of money is coming back into crypto means that people are feeling hopeful overall. Just recently, Bitcoin did see that really nice pump, and it's been a really welcome relief. But is this long-term going to mean that this year we're just going to see green from now on? Absolutely not. I don't think it's actually been that long. I think potentially we're going to see a bear market just for a little bit longer before we really see things re-ramp back up. I would say right now there's just too many factors outside of our control. The war in Ukraine rages on. There are a lot of other issues. China is not doing as well at it as it has in the past. So just a lot of factors to take into account that we're not in control of. So the most responsible thing we can do is to just manage our money wisely, don't over leverage, take calculated risks, but also be safe, have an emergency fund. And yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you next time.